Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football. I do apologise for being about 5 minutes late to this live stream. Yeah, I ended up going out for just a couple of drinks last minute earlier and I just didn't get quite back on time. But we've got an absolutely action-packed live stream. Lots and lots to talk about. As you guys will know, Ten Hag's been announced today. I don't think I need to title it Ten Hag announced today. I'm sure you guys will know because Manchester United are milking it on social media as they would be. 10, 11, 12 posts. I don't know. We're going to get 10 Hag posts every day for basically the rest of the season on United social media because it's the only thing positive they can post. Because if they post training pics, everyone's going to be like, fuck off. They only go to training to take some pictures, then they go home. Because it feels like right now at United, the players, they show up to training, but training's just a photo shoot session and then they fuck off back home. That's what it feels like. I don't know if this is real, but apparently ERIK Bailly's commented on the Manchester United Instagram that him and Varane should be the starting centre-backs. Someone's put on the United Instagram that Bailly and Varane should start, and Bailly's replied, yeah, we should. I don't know if that's real. It is very ERIK Bailly. I think it is quite funny, so I kind of hope it is real as well. Gas is a look bright today in the yellow. We are in the yellow today, and Burnley beating Southampton 2-0. Everton could go down. Maybe sacking Sean Dyche was the thing for Burnley. Obviously, we've got Arsenal at the weekend. I will be live tomorrow for Manchester United versus Arsenal match preview. But today we've got lots to talk about. Ten Hag was announced, and because Ten Hag's announced, we've had a lot of news about who Ten Hag's assistants are going to be, who exactly is coming in. Basically, the Glazers didn't want Ten Hag to bring more than one assistant, but Ten Hag says he wants to bring in two. And the Glazers have lost that battle. And apparently the Glazers don't want to risk undermining Ten Hag in his first week. So Ten Hag's actually been allowed to bring in 2 or 3 assistants. We'll be discussing who they are, what they will add to the squad, what they will bring in a second. We'll also talk about players that Ten Hag would want. We're hearing rumours of a £200 million budget, and then we're hearing rumours of a £20 million budget. All I'm going to say is the reliable journalists are saying there could be 4, 5, 6 players, a £200 million budget. The unreliable journalists, like the Daily Mail, are saying there's going to be a £20 million budget. And I do, we choose what to believe. We want to believe that's the £200 million budget, but it is coming from the more reliable journalists. A very, very reliable journalist in Fabrizio Romano, as we know, and Paul Hurst, again, said that RALF RANGNICK had a big part to play in Ten Hag coming in. A lot of these journalists have been saying that it's nothing to do with RALF RANGNICK, but again, reliable journalists discussing RALF RANGNICK having a big part to play. We're going to be talking about Steve McClaren and Mitchell van der Gaag, who could possibly be assistants, as Steve's put in the chat. And Paul's put in the chat, Ten Hag's Red Army. Ten Hag is done, guys. Donny is 3. Smash a like if you are happy with the appointment of Erik Ten Hag at Manchester United, because I am very, very happy with it. How are we feeling with this been announced? I should have a video coming out tomorrow around midday discussing Ten Hag's first interview with United, some comments Ten Hag's made on Donny and all of that. But very excited to bring Ten Hag in. Who can you buy for 20 million exactly? Play the youth against Arsenal. Guys, would you play the youth against Arsenal? Let me know, because I know Mejbri and Garnacho would at least show some fight against Arsenal. What else we're going to talk about? We will touch on the Maguire subject. I did do a video about Maguire, someone threatening to bomb Maguire, just fucking idiots online. We'll discuss that later on. We want to discuss the details of Erik Ten Hag. There's been reports coming out of the players that are in Erik Ten Hag's plans, and then Fabrizio Romano said some really, really good and insightful information telling us about sort of what Ten Hag wants to do. Fabrizio Romano's confirmed where Ten Hag's priorities are. He wants to develop the youth and all of that. So we'll get into what Fabrizio Romano's had to say, and we'll get into about the transfer news. But basically, just to sum everything up before I really get into the news, most of the sources are indicating that Manchester United aim to sign a CDM and a striker. They are the 2 main priorities. We'd also like to touch upon centre-back, a right-sided forward, and possibly another midfielder. They seem to be Manchester United's 5 priorities. Romano did say that Manchester United could look to sign up to 5 players in the transfer window as well. People saying Arsenal could batter us, and yes, I would definitely play the youngsters against Arsenal. I'm worried because if we get battered by Arsenal, that is embarrassing, and I do truly think Arsenal have the ability to batter us as well. And if we beat Arsenal, top 4 is on, but I don't think they want it. And you're absolutely right there, Gaz. But let me get into the news and all that. And before I get into the news, I want to just read out this because this sticks out to me, guys. Jamie Jackson has said that Erik Ten Hag's appointment had a mixed reception from the Manchester United squad, with some players ambivalent and other players underwhelmed as they wait to work with him. And do you know what I think is really funny is there's a report coming out that some players feel overwhelmed that Ten Hag is appointed. Over fucking whelmed. Seriously. I mean, you know what? You know what? Do you know what's funny? These players that don't want Ten Hag, these players that think Ten Hag's not a good enough manager to manage them, yeah, these players aren't even good enough for this club. Some of these players are going, oh, what, we've got Ten Hag in, he's not good enough, but I'm not going to listen to him already. Well, you know what? You're exactly the player that will be booted out of this squad because you are not good enough for Manchester United. Ten Hag has proven that he's good enough to manage a club like Manchester United, but what have some of these players proven? All they've proven is they throw manager after manager after manager under the bus, and I'm absolutely fed up with reading stuff like this. Oh, the players aren't happy Ten Hag's coming in. Well, do you know what? Fred has done a good post. Fred's done appreciation post for Ten Hag coming in, and De Gea's done appreciation for Ten Hag coming in because they've got the right attitude. And I said the players I'd keep at Manchester United are David De Gea, Fred, Sancho, Varane, Ronaldo. And I said also Bruno, but he needs to stop whining and find form. I said those are the only 6 players I love at United. And everyone laughed at me. Fred. Well, Fred's the one saying, oh, Ten Hag's a good appointment, Rangnick's a good appointment. At least Fred doesn't throw every single manager under the bus. He might not be the best player in the world, but at least Fred has some kind of personality in that. That's all I'm going to say as well. Nick Morris says most probably, as they know, they will have to work harder and they just want to do fuck all for all their money. That's the thing. Donny is told. This is why I reckon some of the Man United players are angry that Ten Hag got the job and not Poch, because the United players, they loved it under Ollie. Ollie's going to play me week in, week out. Doesn't matter how shit I am. Training with Ollie is nice. Oh, my social media, my PR is nice because all the fans will turn on Ollie and not me. It was so nice under Ollie because he got the blame. He protected me. Oh, he played me every week. And then Donny's gone to these players. You know, when Ten Hag comes in, it's going to be different. Donny's been warning the Man United players that it's going to be very different under Ten Hag. We know from previous Ten Hag players, you know, players that used to play under Ten Hag have come out and said that Ten Hag demands a lot. Ten Hag demands a lot, not just on the pitch, off the pitch, not just in training, but like diets, you know, work off the pitch, mentality. Utrecht, where Ten Hag used to work, apparently the mentality there was quite flat. They didn't have a winning mentality, and Ten Hag came in and he instilled this winning mentality, and the mentality of the dressing room apparently changed drastically when Ten Hag came in. And, you know, Ten Hag demands a lot. Ten Hag plays very high-intensity football. We're going to have longer, harsher training sessions. Ten Hag's going to be a lot stricter. You know, these players are throwing Rangnick under the bus. These players don't like Rangnick because Rangnick is allegedly demanding too much of these players. All these leaked reports coming out when Rangnick had only been here 3 weeks saying that Rangnick's training sessions were too long. Rangnick wouldn't let me go home before 5 p.m. So I had to drive home in the dark. That was actually a leaked story. Rangnick making us do homework. Ten Hag's going to make you do homework. Ten Hag's going to make sure that you'd have to drive home in the dark. Ten Hag's going to set you things to do when you're at home. Ten Hag's going to give you intense, tough training. You might have had it very, very easy under Ollie. And that's maybe why you can't adapt to Rangnick. But Ten Hag, he is not going to give it to you easy. He's not going to give it to you easy one bit. And some of these United players are absolutely going to struggle. And Donny van der Beek has allegedly said to some of these Man United players that they're in for a big wake-up call when Ten Hag comes in, because he's going to be demanding a lot, which is exactly what we need. Because not only is Ten Hag a proven winner, not only has Ten Hag done 2 rebuilds at Ajax, not only is Ten Hag play attractive football, modern football, not only is Ten Hag good at developing the youth and, you know, is a very good manager, but also Ten Hag has the right mentality, and Ten Hag has a reputation for changing dressing room morale. And I think what Man United need not only is a new board, a new structure, new owners, but the dressing room morale has not changed in 9 years. They threw Van Gaal under the bus. I don't actually think they really threw Van Gaal under the bus to set. They threw Josie under the bus, they threw Ollie under the bus, and they're 100% throwing Rangnick under the bus. And a big change is needed at Manchester United in terms of dressing room morale. And not only has Ten Hag got all the attributes that we want in a manager, developing youth, as I said, that's brilliant from Ten Hag, modern football, attractive football, proven winner, completed rebuilds. But another attribute Ten Hag has is apparently changing the dressing room and helping develop the dressing room, which is an attribute that would definitely be needed at Manchester United in that dressing room as well. Guys, before I get right into the news and all of that, please do hit that like button if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do click that subscribe button. We just hit 33,000 subscribers, which is absolutely fantastic. And I do want to say a big up to Edwin van der Sar, who's definitely played a part in pushing Ten Hag United's way, because we've actually got Ten Hag cheaper than his compensation fee, and that I think is because of our good relationship with ERIK Ten Hag. But with Ten Hag being announced today, obviously a lot of stories have come out as well. And I will look at the chat in just a second. I just want to get through these stories. Obviously, Samuel Luckhurst, Manchester Evening News, reliable source of information, has said that Manchester United sources say they have hired a proven winner who preaches an attractive attacking style of play and committed to the youth, and that ERIK Ten Hag is viewed by the figures at United as one of the most exciting, consistent managers in Europe. The Manchester Evening News said that Manchester United have decided ERIK Ten Hag was the manager because he aligned with the club's identity and strategy. And the club are very happy with hiring Ten Hag. And the Athletic said that ERIK Ten Hag's release clause was not actually activated by Manchester United. Instead, it was understood that Manchester United and Ajax reached an agreement to separate the clause in his contract with the Dutch side because of our good relationship with Ajax. But into the interesting news, into the good news and all of that. And that is, what is Ten Hag's assistant? Who's coming in with Ten Hag? What is this? Who's staying? We want to what we really want to know, and what we're going to talk about is who's going to stay under Ten Hag, who's going to leave, what's this £200 million budget going to be spent on, and actually what's been said. So Samuel Wallace of the Telegraph came out this morning saying that ERIK Ten Hag wants Steve McClaren as his new Manchester United assistant, along with Mitchell van der Gaard, but there's been some resistance within the club for the Englishman's appointment. So what was coming out this morning was, we know that Mitchell van der Gaard is coming to Man United. Mitchell van der Gaard is a ball guy. He works with Ten Hag at Ajax. Mitchell van der Gaard has a very good relationship with Ajax and Ten Hag, and he's actually quite known for developing the youth. And I think maybe that's why Mitchell van der Gaard, Manchester United are willing to pay the fee for Mitchell van der Gaard, because he has a reputation of developing youth. He's worked closely with ERIK Ten Hag, bish, bash, bosh. We know Mitchell van der Gaard is coming to United, but apparently Ten Hag wants Steve McClaren as well to be his new assistant, as well as van der Gaard. And Manchester United, were kind of resisting that. Manchester United didn't want Ten Hag to bring in as assistant. You're thinking, no, surely not, surely I am right. Manchester United promised Ten Hag he could veto transfers. They promised Ten Hag that he could have he could bring in his setup. He could bring in his coach's setup, and they promised Ten Hag a say in the youth. So one of Ten Hag's promises when he got the job at Manchester United was not only to veto new contracts into outgoings, but also Manchester United said to Ten Hag he can bring in his coaching team. He can bring in the staff he wants, because Ten Hag said he'd only take the job if he could bring in the staff he wants. What have Manchester United done a day into Ten Hag's appointment? What did they do? Manchester United went, oh, you know what? Like, we don't mind you bringing in Mitchell van der Gaard, but Steve McClaren as well. You sure you don't want to work with PHELAN and Fletcher and our staff? Are you sure you don't want to work with our staff for a bit before you decide you need your own staff? Can you bloody believe it? Can you actually bloody believe it? United was saying, no, you can bring in one member of staff, but I don't know if you should bring in the other. Ten Hag wants to bring in McClaren. Ten Hag wants to bring in Mitchell van der Gaard. Let him bring him in. If Ten Hag wanted to bring Peppa Pig in, you'd let him bring Peppa Pig in, because we told Ten Hag he can bring in the coaches that he wants. Doesn't matter who they are. If they're the coaches Ten Hag wants, we need to fully give a manager his wishes. Even if we don't want that person there, if Ten Hag wants Peppa Pig, we give him Peppa Pig. If Ten Hag wants Steve McClaren, we give him Steve McClaren. Okay? United, stop doing this. Oh, you sure you want Steve McClaren? You could work with our current coaches. Our current coaches are the reason one of the reasons we're in this absolute shit mess that we're in. So I can't even believe they're saying to Ten Hag, actually, you can have Mitchell van der Gaard, but you sure you want Steve McClaren, because you can work with our coaches. If he wants Steve McClaren, give him Steve McClaren, because Steve McClaren's done more as an assistant coach than the current ones at this club. I think we can say that comfortably. However, as the day went on, things did look better. Samuel Wallace of the Telegraph also said that Manchester United have asked Ten Hag to evaluate United's own staff first. Van der Gaard has not left Ajax yet, and negotiations for his deal to join United are ongoing. So we know that Van der Gaard to United is ongoing. We know that it's probably going to happen. But with Steve McClaren, United said to Ten Hag, don't you want to look at our staff before you decide you want Steve McClaren? I take one look at Man United staff and go, no, I want my own staff. Look what the fuck have they done as well. And then it came out from Samuel Wallace of the Telegraph this morning that it is anticipated that Manchester United will have no option but to sanction both assistants for who Ten Hag has asked for, or risk undermining the project from the start. this is where it gets better. This is where it gets a lot better. So we start the day off with, the day started with Ten Hag wanted Steve McClaren as well as Mitchell van der Gaag as his assistant coaches. United said he could have Mitchell. They said he couldn't have Steve McClaren. They said, are you sure you don't want to look at our coaches and work with our coaches? Ten Hag's gone, no, I don't want to work with your coaches. You know what? They're rubbish. He hasn't said that. He hasn't said that, but he's probably thinking that I want to bring in Steve McClaren. I want to bring in 2 coaches. United have gone, fuck. Well, we did say one of our promises to Ten Hag was he could veto incomings and outgoings, but another promise we gave Ten Hag was he could bring in his own staff. And United have thought, fuck, we want Ten Hag to be working with PHELAN and Fletcher and a load of bankers and yes men. But Ten Hag doesn't want 1 assistant, he wants 2 assistants. United only want Ten Hag to get 1 assistant so they can have this level of control over him. Ten Hag's asking for 2 assistants. United are going, well, if we undermine him now, he hasn't even started the job. So United do not want Ten Hag to bring in 2 assistants, but because they promised Ten Hag 2 assistants, and because this is his first demand, United have to listen to Ten Hag. They don't like it. They just want him to bring in Van der Gaag, but he's also going to be able to bring in Steve McClaren now. And United don't like that one bit. United want him to be working with the yes-men. So as the day's gone on, Ten Hag apparently basically said to United, I don't want to work with the current coaches. I want to bring in McClaren and Van der Gaag and my own coaching setup. I don't want to work with the current setup. And United have had to listen to Ten Hag and give him what he wants, because otherwise they'd be undermining him right from the start. Because I tell you, and as I said earlier, guys, if Ten Hag wants a coach, let Ten Hag have that coach. I don't care if that coach is Peppa Pig. I don't care if that coach is Cheryl Cole. If Ten Hag wants them, you bring them in. Okay? That's it. Doesn't matter. We need to get rid of the people currently at United. I don't know why Man United even had the audacity to say to Ten Hag, are you sure you don't want to work with our current coaches first and assess our current coaches first before you bring in your own? Ten Hag's got eyes. Ten Hag's probably watched us play versus Liverpool and thought, I ain't working with those coaches. Ten Hag probably saw the attitude of the players versus Liverpool and went, well, I've seen United these last 3 years. They're not very good. Why would Ten Hag want to work with our coaches? It makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Apparently, Burnley are 3-0 up against Southampton. Mad, considering Arsenal lost to them 1-0, says Steve. And guys, we are on 82 likes. Let's go for 200 likes by the end of the live stream. We've got 200 people watching. So do hit that like button if you have not already. But going into further news, Sam Wallace of The Telegraph also said that ERIK Ten Hag wants Steve McClaren for his experience of English football and also knowledge of Manchester United when they were successful at winning trophies under Sir Alex Ferguson. Sam Wallace said that Manchester United have now approved ERIK Ten Hag's request to appoint Steve McClaren as assistant. Bish, bash, bosh. So we started today with United don't want Ten Hag to bring in Steve McClaren. United want Ten Hag to work with the current coaches. Then throughout the middle of the day, we got, oh, actually, we don't want to undermine Ten Hag right from the start. He can bring in 2 assistants if he wants. And we've ended the day with that United have approved that Ten Hag can bring in Steve McClaren. So Ten Hag versus Manchester United. ERIK Ten Hag has won the first battle. Bish, bash, bosh. Get in. So ERIK Ten Hag is allowed to bring in his own staff. As it should be, as it was promised. We did say to him, you can bring in your own staff, and United right from the get-go didn't want him to. United, on day 1 of Ten Hag being announced, almost went back on their promise of you can bring in your own staff, just because they wanted to work with the current crap that we have. Absolute banter club. And this is why, although this club has promised Ten Hag vetoes over contracts, incomings, outgoings, £200 million budget, which we'll get into, that he can bring in his own staff and develop the youth, I don't trust Manchester United to throw. I think United will throw an ERIK Ten Hag under the bus. I think that United will continue to be run like a commercial club. And as much as I think Ten Hag's a brilliant manager, I am worried because I think United will ultimately throw him under the bus. Obviously, Fabrizio Romano came out today and spoke about the Manchester United assistant situation. Fabrizio Romano said that Mitchell van der Gaag has already accepted to join Ten Hag staff at Manchester United, and the green light arrived 1 week ago, and contract details are being discussed, while Steve McClaren has had a direct conversation with Ten Hag on his possible role. So, Tier 1 journalist Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that, Mitchell van der Gaag's already accepted to join Ten Hag at Manchester United. As I said earlier, Mitchell van der Gaag, bald guy, works with Ten Hag at Ajax, very good reputation in terms of developing youth. Mike Way, I think it was, or was it the Telegraph, that Dutch Telegraph, did a really good article on who Mitchell van der Gaag is and what he's done at Ajax, which I would highly recommend reading. And then obviously Romano said that the contract details are being discussed. And he also said that Steve McClaren has had direct contact with Ten Hag. So we know McClaren's had direct contact, and we know we're getting Mitchell van der Gaag. Hopefully we're getting both assistants, which will be brilliant. Laurie Whitwell, Tier 1 journalist. Laurie Whitwell, David Ornstein, The Athletic, I think, is the best source of information for Manchester United news in terms of reliability. I always say that. And they said that Manchester United are set for talks over Steve McClaren joining the club as Ten Hag's assistant, who's proposed to him as addition to his staff. Discussions will now take place to whether McClaren can complete a return to United. So Tier 1 journalist Laurie Whitwell, works for The Athletic again, had said that Manchester United are now got in talks for Steve McClaren joining back at the club. We know that he was previously under the club under Sir Alex. As a manager, Steve McClaren's not been the best manager, but as an assistant, he's been very successful. Laurie Whitwell, again, very reliable journalist, said the process of Ten Hag speaking to both Manchester United coaching candidates freely is only just starting, and it's a live situation. That negotiations for Mitchell van der Gaag are in advanced stage, and Steve McClaren is under serious consideration. So very, very reliable source of information saying basically Mitchell van der Gaag to United is basically confirmed. It's basically done, but it's not done yet. It was like Ten Hag a week ago, when we knew a week ago Ten Hag was coming, but it's only been announced today. And that is the situation with Mitchell van der Gaag. Basically, United are getting this Mitchell van der Gaag guy. That's nearly done, and that we're just starting the process of bringing in Steve McClaren as well. This has come out from Laurie Whitwell. Another candidate that has been linked to Manchester United is René Milstein, who was obviously here before. I've definitely said his surname wrong, and he's apparently believed to be under consideration, says Samuel Luckhurst, but we'll have to wait and see. And again, Laurie Whitwell said later on today that Manchester United are expected to hold talks over Steve McClaren joining as Ten Hag's second assistant. Bish, bash, bosh. Guys, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe down below. Make sure you share the video and all of that. But I think this is positive. I think this is positive, and I will look at the chat in a minute. I think this is positive because I think we started today with news that United were only going to let Ten Hag bring in Mitchell van der Gaag. I was really pissed off this morning because there was news already coming out this morning that United were only going to let Ten Hag bring in one coach. And that really annoyed me because our promise to Ten Hag was he could bring in his own staff. And almost on day one, we almost undermined ERIK Ten Hag on day one. But it's changed today, and that Ten Hag's going to be able to bring in two assistants. Ten Hag's Reds, I love the name, says Alice. Have you heard of this Dutch midfielder, Donny van der Beek? Apparently he played under ERIK Ten Hag and looked really amazing. Worth signing, I think. The thing that is mad is Donny van der Beek's going to be a new signing. Donny van der Beek is literally, he's not a new signing, but he will be. Because realistically, we are losing Matic and we are losing Paul Pogba in the summer. We know we're losing Matic. We know we're losing Paul Pogba in the summer. But we always say we need two midfielders. We need a Matic replacement because we definitely need a CDM, but we're also losing Paul Pogba. So United need two signings in the summer. But then when I think about it, for me, I'm thinking Donny van der Beek has basically not been at United these last 2 years. He was not used. He didn't play a single Premier League game for United this season, apart from that 45 minutes versus Watford, where he almost saved Ollie's job, then Maguire got sent off. Fucking hell, when we lost 4-1 to Watford, it was absolute shit. So Donny van der Beek's basically a new signing. And I was thinking, you know what? United realistically need a full-back, a centre-back, a right winger, two midfielders and a striker. We've been rumoured to get, RANGNICK said United could get 6, 7, 8 players. And, Fabrizio Romano said that RANGNICK has a big, big say in bringing in Ten Hag and recruitment. So, RANGNICK saying we could get 6, 7, 8 players might be correct because we do need 6, 7, 8 players. But what I think is, when we're losing Paul Pogba, and we are talking about Paul Pogba replacement, we do need a Paul Pogba replacement. I'm kind of like, Paul Pogba replacement isn't that big of a priority in my mind. Because I'm like, we've got Donny van der Beek, who could be the Paul Pogba replacement in a sense that he's going to effectively be a new signing. We've got James Garner coming back into the midfield that, I'm not saying that he's anything like Paul Pogba, but what James Garner can do is that long ball that only Paul Pogba can do. Tom and I can't do it, Fred can't do it, but James Garner's a very good creator from deep, and we've got Mejbri. And I'm not that fussed. I think, realistically, we do need a Paul Pogba replacement, but when we need a striker, when we need a CVM more than anything else, I'm not that bothered about the whole Paul Pogba replacement situation because I go, James Garner's coming in, and it's been reported by, I think Jamie Jackson reported this, that Garner's going to be part of Ten Hag's plans. I will get into the players that are reportedly part of Ten Hag's plans and the players that Ten Hag likes. I will get into that story in about 5 minutes. But James Garner's coming back. Hannibal Mejbry's a midfielder, and Donny van de Beek's a new signing. So yes, we're losing Paul Pogba. Yes, we're using Matic, but we've got Garner, Donny, and Mejbry who are all going to be used and utilised by ERIK ten Hag next season. We know that. And then we're going to get a CDM. So we buy a CDM this summer. We know we're buying a CDM this summer from Romano. The CDM this summer we buy replaces Matic. The 3 midfielders that have not been used this season that will be used by ten Hag next season, we can see if any of them can replace Pogba. Because we do need to replace Paul Pogba, but Paul Pogba's barely played this season. Not replacing Paul Pogba for me isn't the end of the world, if you want my honest opinion. Congrats on getting a great manager, says Walter. I'm very, very happy with ten Hag coming in. How do you guys feel about ten Hag coming in? Are you happy? Did you want a different manager? I'm happy with ten Hag coming in. I just hope that the board stick to their promise and back ten Hag. I have to say as well, guys, as fans, I'm assuming you guys watching are United fans, or most of you are. I think as United fans as well, we've got to not turn our back on ERIK ten Hag. I think that's a really important thing, that we do not turn our back on ERIK ten Hag, because he could be thrown under the bus by the players. He could be thrown under the bus by the staff. I think if ERIK ten Hag has a poor first season, I don't want to see ten Hag out. I want to see backing ten Hag as well. As Diego said, let's get Alice to 34,000 subscribers. Yes, we did it at 33,000 subscribers. Can we go for 34,000 subscribers? I want to hit 40k by the end of summer. That is my goal, 40k by the end of the summer. So the more people that subscribe, maybe we can change that goal to 50k. My goal is 50k by the end of the year. So everyone that subscribes makes that goal easier. Steve says he's not bothered who comes in as Man U coach. I am not that bothered about who Man United's next coach is and who their assistant coach is, but I did want ten Hag, if I'm being honest. I don't care who ten Hag brings in with him, as long as it's who ten Hag wants as well. Cosmic says 12 players must go, and I agree. Right now, I think one of the goalies should go, probably Dean Henderson. Wan-Bissaka should go. Harry Maguire should go. Phil Jones should go. Eric Bailly should go. Tellez should go. Matic, Pogba, Lingard, Mata all leaving free agents. That's 10. Gone. Cavani will go as a free agent. 11. Martial could go. I wouldn't get rid of Martial. 12. McTominay, is he good enough? 13. 13 players, just like that, I've named quickly that could leave Manchester United. Apparently, McTominay will be part of ten Hag's plans. We will get into that story. Tuanzebe, yeah. I would keep Luke Shaw for now. I think Luke Shaw in his day is a good enough left back. People would disagree with me on that, but yeah. And as ten Hag Red said that in the chat, that Manchester United will prioritise a new centre back, 2 central midfielders, a winger and a striker this summer, while also examining their full back and goalkeeping options, which obviously was a report that came out from Sky Sports. Please do hit that like button. Please do subscribe if you're new. But I want to get into what Fabrizio Romano's had to say. Fabrizio Romano's kind of revealed some of Manchester United's plans under Ten Hag. Romano's gone on 5, Rio Ferdinand show, and then Romano has his Hugo Lasso podcast. And what Fabrizio Romano said is really, really interesting. So Romano, first of all, spoke about the 2 scouts leaving Manchester United. Yesterday's live stream, we discussed that 2 scouts will be leaving Manchester United. And Romano said that the 2 scouts leaving Manchester United is not directly linked to Ten Hag, but it's a message from Manchester United that they want to change in all areas of the club. A new manager, a new head of scouting, and also many new players. So Romano said United want to change as a club, which is good. That's a positive. Romano, very reliable journalist, confirming that United want to change how they do things as a club. So they're sacking people in recruitment, they're sacking scouts, they're getting a new manager in, and that Manchester United want to get lots of new players and completely change and transform as a club is what Romano is saying, which is a big, big positive. Romano then went on 5, which is Rio Ferdinand show, and I've written a few key quotes from this. And Romano said this, and this is Ten Hag's plan in Romano's eyes. He said, many players will arrive at Manchester United this summer. ERIK ten Hag is not just a manager for United, he will also impact many other areas. So Fabrizio Romano has already confirmed today that Manchester United want to completely change the setup of the club, hence why they've sacked the 2 scouts. They want to bring in lots of new players. They want to bring a new manager, new head of scouting. And we obviously know today that Manchester United have let Ten Hag bring in 2-3 assistants, which will be, again, a change. Man United only wanted Ten Hag to bring 1 assistant. They've backed down and letting Ten Hag bring 2 assistants in. And again, a big thing that Romano said was, is that many players will arrive at United and that Ten Hag's going to have impacts on various areas. We know that Ten Hag will have an impact on what we do higher up. United didn't want to give Ten Hag that power, but Ten Hag made it very clear that all the managers have failed in the last 9 years. He wants to say, and I think with Ralf Rangnick coming in, and we know that Murta Murta is listening to Ralf Rangnick quite a lot. We know from Romano that Ralf Rangnick was the one pushing for ERIK ten Hag, and that Murta's actually been listening to Ralf Rangnick a lot. And we know that Ralf Rangnick knows what this club needs to do in terms of a long-term project. Ralf Rangnick isn't known for being a good interim manager. We've hired him as an interim manager, but what Ralf Rangnick's going to do well at United is what he does long-term, higher up. And Murta's really listening to Ralf Rangnick. He really, really is. And, you know, Ten Hag's going to be the first Man United player that's apparently going to be allowed power in other areas, not just management, but in who we buy and sell. Whether we'll stick to that promise, we'll have to wait and see. But again, interesting. Fabrizio Romano confirmed that Ralf Rangnick was involved. There were rumours that Ralf Rangnick was not involved in bringing in Ten Hag, but Romano's confirmed that Ralf Rangnick was very, very important in the bringing in ERIK ten Hag process, which is what I expect. Fabrizio Romano also said that ERIK ten Hag will work closely with the academy. He knows how important it is to have the youth system at the best level. So again, what Romano has said to us is Ten Hag has plans for the youth. He's going to work closely with the youth academy. He will want to bring the youth through. He knows how having a good youth academy is important. Romano's also confirmed that Ten Hag is going to help out in various areas, not just the academy, but potentially higher up. Romano's confirmed that Ralf Rangnick played a big part in bringing in Ten Hag, and Ralf Rangnick and Ten Hag will work closely together. And Fabrizio Romano's confirmed that lots of players will be coming into Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano's also said that Ten Hag's focus will be to jump into player contracts and new signings as soon as he gets to United, but also the youth system will be something important. So when Ten Hag comes to United, his first focus is who's getting the new contracts, who's coming in, who's coming out, but he also wants to keep an eye on the youth, which is linked with the stories that Ten Hag actually has plans for James Garner and has been impressed by James Garner. That's the story that came from another outlet. I can't remember who it came from, but I will double check who the James Garner story came from. Again, as Romano said, ERIK ten Hag will focus on contracts. Romano also spoke about Paul Mitchell. Now, if you've been following this channel for a while, you know that obviously we've spoken about Paul Mitchell a fair bit on this channel. Paul Mitchell is a sporting director who's currently at Monaco. Paul Mitchell was a sporting director, worked at Southampton, did a good job, worked at Spurs, did a good job, and obviously has a good relationship with Ralf Rangnick because Paul Mitchell and Ralf Rangnick effectively, you know, were one of the reasons that RB Leipzig did well so quick. You know, RB Leipzig didn't exist, 10 years ago or something like that. And now they're a top team. And Paul Mitchell and Ralf Rangnick are one of the main drivers in developing that. And Paul Mitchell, you know, could be Man United sporting director. Ralf Rangnick's advised Paul Mitchell to be sporting director. And he's done some brilliant things. He's, you know, we hear about Ralph's track record of finding Haaland for 8 million or something like that, finding Kimmich for 500k, and Nkunku, Firmino, Mane. You know, six or seven players in the current Liverpool squad. You know, you look at Liverpool right now. You look at the level of Liverpool and the level of Man United. I think 7 of those players in the Liverpool squad right now were players that Ralf Rangnick signed, scouted and recruited for very little money when they were young because he saw potential in them. And now they're playing for the best team in the world, the team that could win a quadruple, Liverpool. Okay? Ralf Rangnick and Paul Mitchell had found a lot of these hidden gems for the RB clubs. And these players are now at Liverpool doing really, really well. Some of them at Chelsea, like Werner, who I think is a really good player. I really like Werner, you know, and Ralf Rangnick's going to the board like, you should get Paul Mitchell. And Fabrizio Romano spoke about Paul Mitchell. Fabrizio Romano confirmed that obviously Paul Mitchell has a very good relationship with Ralf Rangnick and has always been appreciated by Ralf Rangnick. And I'm sure that he's one of the names the club is considering. We know from multiple sources of information that Ralf Rangnick is really pushing to give Paul Mitchell a job as co-sporting director. We know that Richard Arnold does not want to repeat the mistakes that Deadwood made. Richard Arnold wants to, you know, give the footballing side of his job to Murta, to Fletcher. Cool, fine. But Murta and Fletcher, they're not the best people for that job. I think Murta and Fletcher aren't doing a bad job, but they're not qualified for that job like Paul Mitchell would be, like Rangnick would be. And obviously, Murta's been listening a lot to Rangnick. We know that. Rangnick was pushing for Ten Hag. Murta views Rangnick very highly. We know from reports that Murta's a big admirer of Ralf Rangnick and his work, and he's listening to Ralf Rangnick a lot because I don't think Murta wants to make the mistakes that Woodward had made and co. And I think that so far, Murta's not the most experienced guy, but Murta hasn't made a bad decision. He's brought in Sancho, he brought in Varane, he brought in Ronaldo, he effectively got Ralf Rangnick and effectively got Ten Hag. Yeah, we didn't get CDM. Yeah, he's not perfect. But I think John Murta was really trying to do what's best for this club. And he really seems to want to be listening to Ralf Rangnick. And we know that Ralf Rangnick is pushing for Paul Mitchell to come in as a co-sporting director. Because if Richard Arnold's going to be focusing on the banking side, we don't want to give Murta and Fletcher all this works. If you bring in someone like Paul Mitchell with that experience, I think it would help Murta and Fletcher grow. Now, I don't think Darren Fletcher should have that role at Man United, and we know that Ralf Rangnick doesn't think Darren Fletcher should have that role at Man United. Man United have gone to Darren Fletcher. You're an ex-player. You're going to say yes to everything. You get on with the players here. Have a really high-up job that you have no qualifications for. We've shut Darren Fletcher in that job. But if we bring in someone like Paul Mitchell, who's very experienced, done brilliant stuff at Monaco, done brilliant stuff at the RB clubs, and I'm not saying that Fletcher should be in that job. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is United aren't going to get rid of Fletcher. He's been there a year. United aren't going to get rid of Murta, and Murta hasn't really done anything wrong yet for United to get rid of them anyway. But long term, we don't know how good Murta and Fletcher are because they don't have experience. But if you bring in someone like Paul Mitchell, they can learn from Paul Mitchell and they'll have someone experienced with them while they're relatively unexperienced. Because I don't think United should take the risk of having unexperienced people in the recruiting department because we saw what happened with Woodward. He had no experience in football and United have crumbled. I think if you bring in Paul Mitchell as a co-sporting director to work with Rangnick and Fletcher, that means that you have someone experienced in there and the unexperienced people can learn from someone experienced. And I like that we have Ralf Rangnick at the club because Murta is listening to Ralf Rangnick. And I think hopefully Ralf Rangnick is really pushing for Manchester United to modernise the structure of the club, modernise the board. And if we can bring Paul Mitchell in, that'd be brilliant. Diego says he agrees Ten Hag needs experience and people he can trust in his coaching staff and setup. Exactly. And with a new manager coming in, we want to change things. We know from Romano, United have obviously sat the scouts. And United want, Romano said that United are really hoping to drive a change. New manager, new squad, new players, new staff. And this would be the perfect time to bring in someone like Paul Mitchell. Manchester United need a massive change. We need to change what we've been doing. And this is a time that we can really push for some new staff and hopefully bring the right people into Manchester United that potentially deserve to be at Manchester United. Guys, please do hit that like button if you have not already. Can we go for 200 likes by the end of the live stream? I'm not sure how many likes we're on, but we've got over 300 people watching. So if everybody hits that like button, we can maybe hit that 200 like goal. And I also want to say, please do subscribe down below if you're new. I do daily Manchester United content on the channel. I will be live tomorrow night for a Manchester United versus Arsenal match preview. And then I will be live Saturday for a Manchester United versus Arsenal watch along. So do subscribe if you're new as well. And Daniel says Ten Hag can promote and bring in the youth. Exactly. Right now, where I want United to go is we give Ten Hag full control, full power. Ten Hag brings in the youth. We develop the youth. Ten Hag can bring in the players he wants, gets rid of the Deadwood, but also the board will completely restructure and we can get someone like Paul Mitchell. Someone says Tuanzebe's finished, time to go. I know Tuanzebe isn't doing well on loan. And Steve says we're on 162 likes, so let's push for 400 likes. And hi Alice, I'm so happy for all of us all the way from Nigeria. Big up everybody in Nigeria. Let me know in the chat where you're watching from. And Matta's going to be picking up a nice check as well. Matta's going at the end of the season. And, actually, I was thinking this. I love Matta, but he should have been sold 3 years ago. He's just been picking up a check for 3 years, hasn't he? Absolute mad one, isn't it? Absolute mad one. Romano also said, and this was an interesting thing that Romano said. He said it on 5, which is the channel Rio Ferdinand owns. He said that Manchester United sources say that before appointing ERIK Ten Hag, they were planning on changing the scouting area. He will work closely with the new head of scouting to decide the players they need to follow. And this is big from ERIK Ten Hag. This is absolutely big for Ten Hag. This is big from Romano. Romano said that Ten Hag is going to work closely with those in the scouting area. That's never happened. So we're effectively going to give Ten Hag a say in who we bring in, which means hopefully no overplayed Brexit players and hopefully players that suit Ten Hag's philosophy, not players that we recommend. Wow, we've got people from all over the world just looking at the chat. Manchester, Ireland, Kenya, Venezuela, USA, Cuba, Canada, Poland, Finland, Salford, USA. People from all over the world watching. It's crazy how global this fan base is. Someone from Italy as well. Alice, do you think Ten Hag will look at Diallo and Palestri? Of course he will. Of course he will. So a report coming out, and I can't remember who the report was from, but it wasn't a super well-known journalist, but it was a British journalist. And they said that ERIK Ten Hag is an admirer of Mesbury in the youth. ERIK Ten Hag is an admirer of Garnacho in the youth. ERIK Ten Hag is an admirer of Alvaro Fernandez in the youth. And ERIK Ten Hag is an admirer of who was James Garner. And ERIK Ten Hag was really looking at Garnacho and Mesbury and Garner to be given a chance next season. That was something that it said. It was also said the first team players ERIK Ten Hag likes are Cristiano Ronaldo, David De Gea. Varane, Sancho, Rashford and McTominay. People won't like that he said Rashford and McTominay, but apparently Erik ten Hag does like them. No mention of Wan-Bissaka, no mention of Maguire. I think, and I was thinking about this earlier, I would really like to see Manchester United get rid of a big name player this summer. I think Wan-Bissaka's not going to be wanted by Ten Hag. Maguire might not be wanted by Ten Hag. And I think, I think if we'd sell Maguire or we sell Wan-Bissaka in the summer, or even Rashford, and I do like Rashford, I actually wouldn't sell Rashford. I think we can give him one more season. He's just not himself, but I know there's a good player in Rashford. But I think if Manchester United sold a big name player this summer, it would really send a message, because I'm happy we've got Ten Hag. I'm absolutely over the moon we've got Ten Hag. I think it's the right decision, brilliant. Ten Hag's in, bish, bash, bosh. But I've worried that the board have promised Ten Hag he can buy and sell who he wants. But actually, Ten Hag might say to the board, I want to sell Maguire. Man United will realise that if they sell Maguire, they'll only get 20 million, which is a 60 million loss, and it'll make them look bad. And they'll say, no, you can't sell Maguire. You've got to play Maguire. And I don't want that to happen. So I think if United did sell a Wan-Bissaka or a Maguire, a player that Man United don't want to sell this summer, it would send a strong message that actually they are going to back Ten Hag. And not only that, but if the players saw that someone like Wan-Bissaka got sold, they might go, oh shit, I'm not as safe as I think I am. If I'm not performing, I am a goner. I really hope that United, it's going to be hard to get rid of Wan-Bissaka, Martial, Maguire, because they've been underperforming and they're on massive wages. But I think if you get rid of a big name like that, it does send a message as well. It's easy to say sell these players. Who was going to buy Maguire, Wan-Bissaka? They'll be brought by clubs, but for nowhere near as much money as we spent on them. It would be a big loss. Get Gravenberch from Ajax. I think we have been linked to him, but I think Timber is the player that we're most likely to bring if we buy someone from Ajax. And as Daniel says, please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you are new. A lot of people saying who was going to buy Maguire. Look, Maguire isn't that bad of a centre-back. Maguire was quite good last season. Maguire isn't Premier League title-winning centre-back. Maguire is a Premier League level centre-back. Maguire is a decent centre-back. Maguire is just out of form. And because Maguire is out of form, he's horrific. Maguire shouldn't be captain. He's never been a captain. I don't agree with Maguire being captain. On current form, he shouldn't be starting for Man United. But at the start of the season, we were saying start Maguire and Varane. We're now saying start Lindelof and Varane because Maguire's been god-awful. But we were pro starting Maguire and Varane at the start of the season because he was quite good last season. When he was injured last season, we missed him. So I'm not going to act like Maguire is god-awful. He is Premier League level. But right now, Maguire's been playing like a Sunday League level centre-back. He's not been playing good enough, and he should be dropped, and he should be sold because he's not been good enough for so long, and he's not got the right mentality. He's not got the right attitude. He's a captain. There's no leadership he's showing, and I think Maguire should be sold. But I actually think that although Maguire's been so bad lately, I know he's not that bad. Same with Rashford. He's been dreadful right now, but I know he's not that bad. And it's like we could be sitting here in a year and going, wow, Maguire's been brilliant, because Ten Hag might come in, and people aren't going to like me for saying this, and I don't agree with this, but Ten Hag might come in and he might go, I'm going to play Dean Henderson instead of De Gea, because we can play a high line with Dean Henderson, because he's higher up the pitch, he's not glued to his line, his distribution's better. Man United Ten Hag might come in and say, I'm going to play Dean Henderson. Now, Harry Maguire, I'm not blaming De Gea. De Gea has been so good this season. This is not me blaming De Gea. Do not take this comment out of proportion. But Harry Maguire is a better centre-back with Dean Henderson behind him. Now, I'm all for dropping Maguire and keeping De Gea. Players should be rewarded on form. But what I'm saying is if Ten Hag comes in and he thinks, well, Dean Henderson suits my style of play more, it's easier for Maguire to play a high line with Dean Henderson because he's a keeper that has a high line. And Ten Hag might come in, he might play Dean Henderson. Varane will be back fit. We'll be playing a better system. There'll be better coaches in. And you never know. We could be sitting here in a year's time saying Maguire's had a good season. We could, because I don't think he is that bad of a centre-back. But I don't think he should be playing on current form because he's been awful. People say De Gea should be captain. I agree. I absolutely agree. Alice, I love your accent for real. Cheers. And Newcastle will buy a squad. I literally was sitting there thinking, I didn't say it, but I was actually thinking, you know what? It'd be really nice if Newcastle could come in and buy a few players, because there's quite a few players we want sold. The thing is, I think Newcastle would buy Harry Maguire. I really do think Newcastle would buy Harry Maguire because he is a player that would give Newcastle like that step up. I actually think Harry Maguire would be a good signing. Lingard needs to boot. Lingard's going anyway on a free. And a lot of people say Maguire out no matter what. Look, I want Maguire sold. I'm going to be honest. I don't think Maguire's good enough. I want him sold. and I definitely want him stripped of captaincy, even if he does stay. If Maguire stays, fine. But if Maguire stays captain, that's when I'm going to be, do you know what, annoyed. That's when I'm going to be annoyed, if I'm going to be honest with you. Of course, someone watching from Tunisia, big up Tunisia. I know Meshbury plays for you as well. But I will say regarding Maguire, the fucking bomb threat. Oh, stupid. This fan base can be very toxic. We are more than welcome to criticise a player. They have a job, they're not doing their job good enough. We're allowed opinion, we can criticise a player. You can say Marcus Rashford was shit today. You can say Harry Maguire was shit today. You can say that. But what is not allowed is violence and abuse, racist abuse. Rashford misses a penalty, gets all these N words and monkeys thrown at him. No, not acceptable. Do you know what I mean? That's not acceptable. Death threats, not acceptable. Any kind of abuse, like even just saying, if Maguire has a bad performance and you go tweet him going, kill yourself, that's abuse. No. You can criticise a player and talk negatively about a football player in a footballing sense. Maguire was poor today. Maguire's performance was shit. There's criticism and there's abuse. Okay, criticism. These players deserve criticism. They deserve a lot of criticism. I'm all for criticising these players. They've not been good enough. They deserve criticism. But there's abuse. Abuse is when it's not related to football. It's just saying mean things is not related to football. And abuse is bad. Death threats is bad. Racist abuse is bad. But violence, threatening violence, is another thing that is not acceptable. It doesn't matter who the footballer is. Violence isn't okay in life. It isn't okay online. And the fact that fans are threatening to bomb Maguire. There was probably a 12-year-old going, I'm going to bomb your house. And they're an idiot kid and they're probably crying because they're going to get in trouble now. But you don't do that. We don't do that as a fan base. That's not okay. That is not okay. He has kids. Those kids are young. His kids are young. If I was a 10-year-old girl and I've seen the police are all looking at my house with sniffer dogs in case there's a bomb in there, I'm not going to sleep for months. I'm going to be scared. That's horrible to go through what him and his family are going through. I'm not saying that, I'm saying we can criticise Maguire. We can criticise Maguire's performance. I still stand by that Maguire shouldn't be captain. He should be dropped. But Maguire's not had it easy. Let's be real. Everything that went down in Greece was not easy for Maguire. Maguire gets more abuse than any United player right now, probably because he's captain. People are horrible online, but threatening his family, it's not acceptable whatsoever. It's not. And I do say, if you're someone that's sending death threats to players, please don't. De Gea doesn't control his defence aggressively. Look, I like David De Gea. I think David De Gea will be gone in the next 2 seasons. I don't think he'll work under Ten Hag. He's not a modern keeper. But right now, De Gea and Ronaldo, who are not Ten Hag players, that will not be here in more than 2 years, and they're not the players that Ten Hag will ideally want, they're the least of our problems right now. De Gea, Varane, Ronaldo, Sancho, Thread are the only players that can say they didn't have a god-awful season. They're the only players that can say, I didn't have a god-awful season, at least I tried. The other players, they can't say that. As well, Showcart Sam says no to abuse, no to threat, no to racism, because at the end of the day, it's only a game. That's a very good comment there, Showcart. I completely agree. And Nick says, I keep Freddie's a baller, hella better than McTominay. Pair him up with the right partnership and he do bits for United. I agree. Fred has been playing a little bit as an 8 under Ralf Rangnick, and Fred has been very, very exciting under Ralf Rangnick as an 8. I think bringing Tchouaméni, play Fred as an 8, play Donny as the other 8. Now, I do like Bruno, but I would like to see Tchouaméni if we get him. Not that I think we're going to get Tchouaméni, but if United got Tchouaméni, I'd love to see a midfield 3 under Ten Hag of Tchouaméni, Fred and Donny. I think the balance of that would be so nice. So nice. I just think it would be. It'd be nice to see. We're only 90 likes away from 300 likes, so 40 likes away from 250 likes. We've got 300 people watching, so please do hit that like button if you have not already. Let's see if we can get 300 likes. So smash a like, smash a subscribe, smash a share. Also, guys, if you are new, please do subscribe. Means a lot. Could Ronaldo leave the club? I'm not sure. I don't blame him if he does. He's too good for this club. I'm not sure. But let me try and find the article. So this is a news story that came out today. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. So today it's come out that Garnacho, Fernandes, Shola-Chiratiri and Mejbri all train with the first team today. So more youth are getting promoted to train with the first team, which is understandable because the first team have been fucking shite. It came out from Melissa Reddy, who I believe is a journalist for Sky Sports, said that there's a growing internal sentiment for Harry Maguire and that he cannot be leader of Manchester United or the back line. More reports that Maguire won't be captain. Reports again today that Chris Armas will leave Manchester United at the end of the season. Fine, whatever, doesn't really affect us. I'm trying to find the report that I read earlier. I'm trying to find who it's from, because basically a report that I read earlier names players that Ten Hag planned to use at Manchester United. So if I can find that now, bear with. I know I liked it on Twitter, so I'm going through my Twitter. Like, here it is. Jamie Jackson said this. You know what? Let me get the tweet up for you. We're nearly at the end of the live stream. Let me get it up on my screen so you can all see what I'm talking about. This is the tweet. Make of it what you want. Journalists get things wrong. This doesn't mean it's true. But Ten Hag likes Bruno, Varane, Rashford, McTominay, Sancho. The youngsters he's keeping an eye on is Mesbury, Garnacho, and Garner. Mesbury, Garnacho, and Garner, the three youngsters I believe will be involved next season. It's cool. Sancho, of course, he'll be involved under Ten Hag. McTominay's an interesting one, but if you're surprised McTominay's there, I don't think McTominay's good enough. I'm going to be honest with you. But McTominay does have good games. He does have the right attitude. When you're in a situation where a lot of players have the wrong attitude, sometimes you've got to play the players with the right attitude, even if they're not the best. Because even if McTominay isn't better than certain players, he'll play better because he's got the right attitude. And Mourinho likes McTominay, Oli likes McTominay, RANGNICK likes McTominay. I won't be surprised if Ten Hag likes McTominay. I know a lot of the fans don't like McTominay, but if Ten Hag likes McTominay, I wouldn't be surprised because every manager likes him. Rashford, people are annoyed that Rashford's involved, but this is one bad season for Rashford. He's young. And Bruno, people are annoyed about. But it's interesting. The one thing I think is interesting about this article is I think Fred is more suited to Ten Hag than McTominay, but maybe it's because McTominay's younger. But I do like that there's a lot of reports saying that Ten Hag's very interested in James Garner. There's quite a few reports talking about Ten Hag's interest in James Garner. And I think when watching James Garner play for Nottingham Forest play a 4-2-3-1. Ten Hag plays a 4-2-3-1. James Garner plays in that pivot that it's very. And James Garner, as not only a CDM, but James Garner's got very good creative ability. Doing over-the-top balls is actually quite good at creating, and that's what Ten Hag demands from one of his holding midfielders. He plays a 4-2-3-1 Ten Hag, but one's more defensive and sits back and covers the defence, and the other one pushes forward and creates. And Garner could be that second one that pushes forward and creates. And I think that James Garner's been so good in the Championship. James Garner's been Man United's best midfield this season. He's not even been in the Premier League. And the reason I say James Garner's been Manchester United's best midfielder, and the reason I say that comfortably is I watched James Garner play versus Liverpool. He was really good. He did not look out of place. He got stuck in, and they only lost 1-0. Nottingham Forest only lost 1-0 to Liverpool. Man United's midfielders, when it was Mukfred, lost 5-0. When it was Pogba and Matic, lost 4-0. When it was James Garner, they lost 1-0. All against the same opposition. That I actually think that James Garner is Manchester United's best midfielder. Right now he is, and I think he will be involved in under 10 because it's a very similar style of play. Rashford doesn't improve. Rashford has not improved these last years, which is worrying. And don't forget, Donny van de Beek is the perfect fit for Ten Hag. Yes. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to be talking about stuff that Erik ten Hag's actually said about Donny van de Beek, because Erik ten Hag obviously said in an interview he's stunned why Manchester United have not given Donny van de Beek much minutes. He cannot believe how little minutes Donny van de Beek has got this season. So what I will do, and what I am going to talk about in tomorrow's video, is actually what Erik ten Hag's had to say about Donny and his lack of minutes at United. Palestri deserves a chance. Palestri looked good in pre-season. Palestri, again, like Amad Diallo, is a good youngster on the wrong loan move. We've sent Palestri to the most defensive, boring team in La Liga. And no wonder he's got no goals and assists, because he set the most defensive, boring team in La Liga. Palestri needs a Premier League or Championship loan. That's what Palestri needs. Amad Diallo and Palestri given the wrong loans too. I think they're good players, but I think Amad Diallo is more likely to get a chance under Ten Hag. United only got 20 million to spend, says Lee. That's a load of. One report says 200 million, one says 20. The journalist that said 200 million is more reliable than the journalist that said 20 million. I think Manchester United will have 200 million to spend, but I think they're expecting to get 100 million in outgoings. I think United will have 200 million to spend, but a lot of it will be in outgoings as well. Ten Hag will bring in players you've never heard of, but they fit a system. Yeah, I'm over this big name era at United. I look at some of the top clubs. Liverpool. Okay, let's look at Liverpool. We want to be Liverpool. I hate saying that, but we want to be Liverpool. Could win a quadruple, play attractive football, a likeable squad, good manager. Everything's going well for Liverpool. They've beat us 9-0, and I look at Liverpool, and I go, have Liverpool signed £100 million stars? No. Firmino, decent up-and-coming player when they signed him. Mane was a decent player in the Premier League when they signed him. Salah was a decent player in Serie A when they signed him. You know, Salah, Mane, and Firmino before Liverpool weren't big names. Diaz, he was playing in the Portuguese league. He wasn't a big name. Shota was at Wolves. He wasn't a big name. All of those players are now top players that could win a quadruple. You know, Liverpool's midfield, Fabinho, wasn't a massive name. And this is why I want United to go in this direction of signing players that might not be the most well-known, might not sell shirts, but they're the right players. You look at Liverpool, they aren't spending hundreds of millions on players. You know, Barcelona and Man United are probably the two worst teams in the transfer window, and they're spending 100 million, 80 million on players. We need to do what Liverpool have done and look in the Bundesliga, look in La Liga, look in the French league, look in the Dutch league, look in the Portuguese league, and look at those hidden gems. Names that if you don't play FIFA, you might not know, but they're hidden gems. RALF RANGNICK was scouting Julian Alvarez. He's now gone to City. He'll probably be the next Aguero, and we're thinking, fuck, why don't we sign him? But you know what I mean? You know, all these players that Liverpool spent 20, 30, 40 million on are now worth 100 million now. I want Man United to sign 5 or 6 players that are only 20, 30 million, and coming to Man United will be a step up, rather than signing 1 or 2 100 million pound players. It's easy to say I'd like Haaland at United. It's easy to say I want Harry Kane at United. It's easy to say I want Declan Rice at United. But actually, do we want to spend 200 million on Declan Rice and Harry Kane? Well, we could spend 200 million on Tchouaméni, Kamara. We could get in Timber. We could get in Darwin Núñez. We could get in someone that we've never heard of. We could get in someone from the Portuguese league we've never heard of. We could get in someone from the Brazilian league we've never heard of. I think that's the better direction to go. But the players Liverpool have signed would have cost us 20 million more for being United. It's a good point. United tax is obviously a thing, and Sky Sports said 1 midfielder. We might get 2, but I think with James Garner coming back from loan and Donny van der Beek essentially being a new signing, I can just see us getting a CDM and not replacing Paul Pogba, because there's Donny, there's Mejbri, and there's Garner all coming under 10 HAG. If you want my honest opinion, I think we'll get a CDM. I think we'll get a striker, and I think we'll get a centre back. Right, guys, I am going to end the live stream here. I do want to say thank you, everybody, for watching today's live stream. Make sure you hit that like button if you have not already. And, of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you are new. I will be back tomorrow for a Manchester United versus Arsenal preview. And I do have a video going out tomorrow around midday, around lunchtime UK time, about Ten Hag's interview and what Ten Hag's have to say on Donny van der Beek's lack of minutes at United. So make sure you subscribe for that. Ten Hag interview out tomorrow. Man United Arsenal preview out tomorrow night, and then obviously Saturday I will be doing a watch along for Manchester United versus Arsenal, followed by a match reaction. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We've had over 300 people in the stream. It's been a very, very good stream. Smash a like, smash a subscribe, smash a share. Big up everybody in the chat getting involved. Sorry I wasn't as interactive with the chat as normal. I've been waffling a bit, I've been talking a lot, but there was lots to get through. But I will try and interact with the chat a lot in my watch along against Arsenal and in tomorrow's live stream. So thanks for subscribing. Smash a like, smash a subscribe.